In today's video, we're going to take a look at something I've been wanting to check out for a long time, a PCP air gun. This is the Venturi Avenger, sent to me by the good folks at Air Gun Depot, and that's what's coming up next here on Survival on Purpose. Welcome back to Survival on Purpose, your home for trustworthy information and gear reviews related to camping, survival, and general preparedness for regular folks. My name's Brian. Thanks for joining me. And as I said, I'm really excited to show you this today because I've been trying to get my hands on one of these for quite a while. This is a PCP air gun, a pre-charged pneumatic air gun. This one is the Venturi Avenger, and it's a good time to say thanks to the folks at Air Gun Depot for sending me this so I can show it to you and for sponsoring today's video. Air Gun Depot opened in 2002 to become your source for higher end and maybe harder to find air guns and products that maybe you can't find in a regular brick and mortar store. They've since, because of their excellent customer service and great selection, become one of the largest dealers of outdoor shooting type stuff in America, from air guns to, what else they got? Air guns, let's see. Air guns, airsoft, paintball, blank guns, crossbows, and shooting accessories. And what's really cool, their website has also become a really great resource for information. They've got product reviews, they've got how-to stuff, a lot of information and videos on their website. And they're proud members of the National Shooting Sports Foundation and the NRA. So they're supporting your and my rights and your and my ability to continue to enjoy stuff like this. So thanks again to the folks at Air Gun Depot for sponsoring this video. So let's talk about the rifle and the package. So what I got, they sent me was this package, which contains this rifle here and this pump here, which is a really, it looks like a bicycle pump, but it's not. And we'll take a look at it in just a minute. But so this package for this rifle and the pump is $559.99. And that may sound like a lot of money for a pellet rifle, but this is not a pellet rifle. This is an air gun. And let's talk about that for a minute. So it's 22 caliber. These things are available in 177, 22, and 25, but it's a 22 caliber, just like a same size round as a Ruger 1022 or anything else. The maximum velocity on this 22 caliber is 930 feet per second, which is real close to 1,000, real close to the speed of sound, and definitely real close to the same velocity you get out of like a 22 pistol. So this is potentially deadly. I can tell you it'll go through a piece of 1/2-inch plywood in a heartbeat, and we'll take a look at that in just a minute. So the foot-pounds of energy for this one is 34 foot-pounds of energy maximum. So there's that. So let's talk about how this thing works, give you the specs real quick. Then I'm gonna take you to the range and show you some range footage because I'm pretty impressed with this thing, to be honest with you. So first of all, overall length of this thing is 42 3/4 inches. The barrel length is 22 3/4 inches, and it weighs 6 pounds. Very lightweight. It's just super lightweight. It has synthetic stock. Talk about the pressure on it. It has an externally adjustable regulator, so you can pump this thing up to a maximum of 4,351 PSI, and there's the pressure gauge of what's in the tank. Right now, left in the tank, you can see, is somewhere around, there it is, right under 2,000 PSI. And then this is the, on this side is the firing pressure. And the firing, well, I'll get up there, I'm trying to do this by myself, is set at about 2,500 PSI. So, but it'll fire at 2,000 PSI, it'll go through a piece of 1/2-inch plywood because I tried that. So, it has a 180 cc air cylinder, and the air cylinder is actually this tube on the bottom that looks like a shotgun magazine for a shotgun, and it holds 180 cc, and which gives you enough for 70 shots per fill. So you pump this thing up to 4,300 PSI and you get 70 shots. That's pretty cool. Let's see any more details we need to talk about. Oh, it's cool. So it has a Picatinny rail on bottom for mounting a bipod or something like that, and Picatinny rails on top for mounting your optic. This particular package did not come with any kind of scope or optic, which I didn't figure out until I opened it, so we'll talk about that in just a minute. Let's see. One other thing, it has a manual safety. So the safety is here, and you push it forward, and you see it's red, that means fire. I like that. That's just like my Mossberg. Forward means fire, and which really makes sense to me because that's the way that the rounds are coming out. And then it has an adjustable 2-stage trigger, so you can adjust this thing for trigger pull and for three different adjustments. And finally, it's either available as a single shot, so you can, it's got a side cocking lever. You cock this back like that, and you can put your pellet down here by hand and push it forward, and now it's ready to fire once you take it off the safe. And, or what's really cool is you can take that out, take the little spacer out, and you see this one's marked 22 caliber there. And it comes with these magazines, 2 of these 10-round magazines, and you can stick them in there like so. They snap in, and then you can fire 10 times without reloading, which is pretty cool. So, having said that, it's pretty much everything, all the specs about this one. Let's talk about the pump. As I said, this combo with the pump is $559.99. You can buy the rifle alone for $349.99. Let's talk about this pump. So, as I said, this looks like a regular bicycle pump, but I assure you it's not, because this thing will pump up to 4,500 PSI. That'll blow your bicycle tire plumb up, as they say in Georgia. So, really, really nice setup there. And this pump is $249.99 alone. It's a 3-stage pump. This is fill strips in 5 minutes, so you can take this base off really easily, take the handle off, and it kind of breaks down to a slimmer package you can put in your backpack or whatever. Weighs 5 pounds, 4 ounces, and has a 17.5-inch hose. The kit that you can get comes with this little quick adapter on it. So it's just a quick connect that you can hook right on the end of the reservoir. This was manufactured and hand assembled in England by Hill Pumps. It was a 5-year limited warranty. So there's that. So $249.99 for the pump and $349.99 for the rifle alone. Is $600, but you get them together for you save $40 if you buy them as a kit, which is pretty cool. So for $560, you can get a very nice, very quiet, as you'll see, way to go. You can shoot varmints with this thing. I know people hunt coyotes with these. People hunt all sorts of small game with them, and they're really, really quiet. So now, the one thing I will say is this will pump up to 4,500 PSI, but it's going to take a little while to pump it to. It's going to take a little while to pump that thing up to 4,500 PSI. If you're in a hurry and you just don't like pumping, like right now it's 90 degrees out here and the humidity is like 200%, I don't know. So yeah, I'm sweating just talking to you. I'd hate to think I had to pump this thing up. However, show you one more little option, and then we'll get to taking this thing to the old shooting range. They also have available several options for compressors, and this one is the Venturi Nomad 2. Let me take it out of the package and show you here out of the little. So it comes with this really nice little carrying case, and then this is it right here. Pretty nice, and it has a plug-in hose and an air compressor. It also comes with you can run this off of 240, 120, or a car battery, so you can take it out in the field with you. This will pumps that cylinder up, that 180cc cylinder, completely from empty to full in about 4 to 5 minutes. So it'll take you a little longer than that to pump it by hand. It has an auto shut off, goes up to 4,500 PSI, so it's not just a regular little compressor. It's fan cooled. It's just got jumper cables with it. The noise level is 92 decibels, and it's about 20 pounds, 19.6 pounds, and about 10.6 inches by 8 inches by 7.9 inches. So there's that. So this is what I use primarily, because the pump, I just don't like working that hard. So let's talk about shooting this thing. So first of all, like I said, I didn't realize this did not have an optic or sights of any kind on it until I got it out of the box. And I took it to a friend of mine's house that lives kind of in the country, and he's got a safe place to shoot, because I don't. I'm in a neighborhood, and I don't want to, you wouldn't want to go cracking off a 22, and that's what this is. It's just quieter. And I got it out of the box, and I realized, wow, there's no sights on here. So we had to do a little bit of hound dogging with it. I just set up a piece of 1/2-inch plywood about 60 feet or so away. I figured I could hit that with no sights, and I did, and it punched through it like butter. I mean, it just popped a hole completely through a piece of 1/2-inch plywood like nobody's business. So then we decided to have a little fun, and we set up some of these little Firebird 50 Bios, the world's only biodegradable detonating target. I got these, by the way, from Big Daddy Unlimited, and you see they're just little, they look like little makeup compacts or something, face paint, but they just stick on. You take the little pack here, and it's got a little sticky on the back of it, you stick it on. So we just stuck it onto the plywood, and then we commenced to trying to hit it with no sights. And finally, we hit it, and I was really surprised. This thing made a heck of an explosion. Go a little bit higher. Oh, you got it! With a pellet gun, so that shows you this thing's got enough juice to it to do that. So anyway, then I decided, okay, I probably need to put some kind of optical sights on here and take it to the actual range. So I happen to have this Trijicon AccuPoint already set up on a Midwest Industries quick detach mount. So thought this will be something good. I'll take this to the range. I can stick this on without having to mount, you know, to mount rings and spend a whole bunch of time mounting a scope on this thing. But what I didn't think about was this big base here. When I put it on with what was about the right eye relief, I'll show you. What happens is, you see we don't have very much room there underneath it. It's just a little slot. And so I was going to try to use these magazines, and they won't go in because they're hitting the scope base. If you can see that, let me hold up here, you can see it. They're hitting the scope thing, so they wouldn't go in. And as it turns out, I really had a hard time even getting a single, you know, just dropping them in singly there. So I wound up mounting the scope way up here like this with just one quick detached latch, where I could kind of get my fingers in there to drop a single round at a time in to try to sight the scope in. So it took me a minute to get it sighted in at 25 yards. I wound up just shooting some dirt clouds or something to see where they were hitting, to try to get it on paper because it wasn't sighted at all. And then when I finally did get it sighted in at 25 yards, as you can see, it got a pretty good group. I was pretty happy with that group. So I decided to take it out to 50 yards. And as you can see, it wound up being about 4.5, 5 inches low at 50 yards, but the group wasn't too bad. So then I said, I'm gonna take it to 100 yards. Oh, we were way low. I think it hit under the target. Okay, that was probably being ridiculous because it had a lot of drop at 100 yards, I'll just be honest with you. So here we are at 100 yards, and I started out aiming here, I wasn't on paper. Then I started aiming here, I wasn't on paper. I wound up aiming up here at the top of this shootout, top of this gully here from Impact Gully. And it looks like I got one here, and I think one here, and maybe one right here. So about that's probably a 4 or 5 foot drop. 100 yards is a long way for an air rifle, I get that. But I thought it'd be worth a try. So then I took it back to 50 and put one of those targets where you can, you know, see the splatter on it, and aimed about 4 or 5 inches high. Tried 2 different rounds. So most of what I was shooting at the 100 was this one, Extreme Accuracy. When I went back to the 50, I thought I would try 2 different rounds. So I tried this Extreme Accuracy first. You can see the group on it. It was, you know, it was decent, but it wasn't as good as the first group, actually. And then I tried this Extreme Long Distance, and I got a little better group, but it's kind of strung out a little bit, but it was a little more to the right. So it really depends on the ammunition that you're going to use, but you really got to get it sighted in for that. So, but I'll say I was pretty impressed with this thing. At 50 yards, I'm pretty sure I could take out a small game with it because it's got a lot of juice there at 50 yards, and it's very accurate. There you go. So a couple of caveats to give you kind of my wind up on this thing. First of all, be aware that it does not come with an optic. Now they have packages that have scopes and stuff with them. They may even have packages that are mounted, but if you're going to put an optic on it, a scope on it, I would recommend that you use rings, not a base. Just make sure whatever rings you get, you got room to put that, yeah, like this. You got to take that out first, Brian. There's room to clear this, and that's going to be about a 1/2 inch. I can see a red dot working well on this, but the only other thing to think about is you need some way to pump it up, okay? So If you're looking at this for a survival type gun, which is a great choice for survival, because here's the deal. You can carry 125 rounds of ammo in basically the size of a snuff can, a skull can. This one is 200 rounds of ammo, so it depends on the ammo. And those cans are about that big. You can see they're, what, 2.5 inches, 2 inches across. So a lot of ammo. It's very quiet. And if you have a pump of some kind, then you can pump it up by hand. And once you get it full, you get 70 shots. So that's pretty good. And it's very quiet. So if you're looking for survival, it's got the advantage of not needing any ammo. You can put these things. Not only is it, you get 200. This is 200 in here, but this is probably like $10, $15 at the most. So you can several of these. You could have 1,000 rounds of ammo for somewhere in the neighborhood of $60, $75, and it's not going to take up much more room than a can of Coke. So that's pretty good. It probably won't weigh. It'll weigh a little bit more than a can of Coke, but not very heavy really. The gun itself is light, and again, it's quiet. So you can take small game with this all day long, and very, very quietly. So I think that's a really good choice. It's a really good choice for survival or just prepping, stuff like that, because again, ammo's cheap and it's plentiful and it's quiet, and you don't have to have any kind of permits or anything else to buy this. This is just you can send it right to your door. You don't have to go to a FFL dealer or anything else too. So that's a good thing to think about, and it's really a nice setup. So PCP is a good way to go. I know we tried to break open before. I didn't like it. It's really hard. I mean, you get your workout breaking it. It's going to be a single shot, and it goes off very violently when it goes off. So this one doesn't. As you can see, this is just really smooth, very little jerking and kicking. The brake actions, man, when they go off, they're pretty violent. So anyway, that's it. I'll stop rambling. I got to say, bottom line, I really like this gun, and I got on the Air Gun Depot website, and they've got some really good options. They've got some for less than this, but if you're looking for a PCP, this is a pretty good setup to get into the PCP world for under $600, and I think that's a pretty good deal. So there you go. I hope this has been helpful. Again, thanks to the folks at Air Gun Depot for sponsoring today's video, and as always, thank you for watching Survival on Purpose. Remember, survival's not an accident, so be prepared. I'll see you next time.